This is our little practice hill that we're going to be riding on today. It's pretty indicative of E-bars that you find in the woods on the roads. Whenever you're riding something like this, you want to go straight up at it. You don't want to try and go on at an angle like you would in a truck. The only reason you do that in the truck is to save damaging the front bumper to get one wheel up and on the side. Quads don't have that issue. I'm going to show you a little bit about the suspension of the quad and try and better explain why it's a really bad idea to go up stuff like this sideways. Alright, looking at the rear of the quad here on the rear suspension, you can see we've got a single spring in the middle that limits the up and down motion. Over there and over there, we have bolts where the frame connects to this whole suspension assembly. This means that your rear axle on this quad can only go up and down, cannot articulate. What we need to take away from that is whatever surface these wheels are on is the same plane that the rest of the machine will be on. That means if we're on a side hill, our machine is going to be sideways. The other reason you want to go straight at a hill instead of sideways at it is wheelbase. If you look at the wheelbase is the distance from the center of this wheel to the center of this wheel. It's much longer this way than it is widthwise. This is a smaller dimension. It's much easier for the bike to roll sideways than it is to roll forwards or backwards. I didn't say impossible, I just said more difficult. To illustrate the concept we were just talking about there, I've parked the quad on the berm and you can see it's quite stable. I felt very safe riding up like that. It's not trying to tip back at all. Okay, so if I come up on an angle like this, then it feels much more precarious. I was already moving my weight to the high side there because this wheel-to-wheel dimension is quite small. The whole machine is going to try and tip this way. The other thing to note is if there's a big rock here or there or there or there, and this wheel or this wheel hits it, my machine's much more likely to fall down the hill. Conversely, if you look at this side, if there's a hole that this tire has to go over, then this tire is going to lose traction and could have the machine easily falling into the hole and then down the hill. Okay, finally, we have an example of what really not to do riding along a side hill like this. You can see that the back axle is pretty much flat with the hillside. The front suspension being independent suspension, if you look at it, this side's all the way sucked up and this side's drooping way down trying to stay in contact with the ground. But because of how the quad's sitting, it's quite unstable right now. If you look at this back tire, just with one hand, I can lift it up and off the ground. If you had more people on it, or boxes of trees, or a deer, something heavy, it'd be very easy for it to roll sideways. One of the other common issues that people have going up hills that will have them flipping their quads, they go in too high of a gear, and then they run out of power as they're going up. They'll stop, gear down, restart, and have the machine try to flip back. I'm going to demonstrate what that would look like. So I'm in third gear right now. And you can see that I ran out of power going up that. Now, if you go back to the other videos where we did this in the classroom, then you already know if I spin this back tire forwards, the rest of the machine wants to spin backwards down the hill. So what I'm going to want to do instead of trying to start in a lower gear here is I'm going to roll backwards down the hill, keeping my wheels straight until I'm on the flat ground. Then I can select the appropriate gear and try again nice and smoothly.